Diaspora UA welcomes you back on our channel. Today we have with us Andrew Azarkin, ex-US Army officer, and Pani Oksana Davida, writer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
You follow the war in Ukraine very closely, even Andrew, you're not Ukrainian, but you decided to help Ukrainian people in this fight because, as we know, they are fighting for freedom. Also, we know you send in humanitarian help using your salary in raising some money online, but we hear on TV every other week President Biden sending billions of help to Ukraine. And you and me, we have dozen eyewitnesses as well, 1,000 Ukrainian that really don't know about this help, where it's going, because they're not receiving in full amount. And we don't understand how it's going and when it's arrived. And the Ukrainian army is short of ammunition since March, according to Ukrainian generals. And Russia outperformed Ukrainian army with ammunition and other military equipment approximately 10-1. How would you comment this situation?
Well, first of all, the biggest arms supplier for Ukrainian army is Russian army. What Ukrainian army captures on the battlefield, like recently they captured like tanks, they captured the armored vehicles, ammo, ammunition, machine guns, everything. So most of the heavy weapons that Ukrainian army is using, aside from those Polish tanks that we know, most of these heavy armory came from the Russian army. It's basically captured as a trophies. Okay. Unfortunately, I did not see any heavy weaponry from the United States, aside from howitzers, aside from HIMARSs, obviously, but these are precision strike weapons. We're talking about number of tanks, we're talking about number of armored personnel carriers, personnel vehicles, Humvees, armored, unarmed, pickup trucks, that type of thing. In comparison, President Biden left close to 60,000 pickup trucks in Afghanistan. All different kinds, Humvees, normal pickup trucks, 60,000, okay? We left 65,000 night vision goggles in Afghanistan. Let me explain you what the 65,000 is. It's 4 full divisions. Every single soldier has night vision goggle. Okay? Each goggle, if you go on like Amazon or something, it costs close to like $4,500–5,000. So not many we can buy, even if there were volunteers who raise money. One night vision goggles, military grade, costs close to $5,000. We left 65,000 of them to Taliban. We left 4 transport airplanes, C-130s. We left 33 transport helicopters. We left 33 Black Hawks, UH-60 helicopters. We left close to 50 strike helicopters, which is MD-530F, which is badly needed for Ukrainian special ops. None of that has ever been received by Ukrainian army. I haven't seen them on the battlefield. Maybe they are, but we don't see them. We see old like M113 vehicles from Vietnam era. They're still good, okay? But even though there may be like 100 of them, we have literally thousands of them on in our storage in Arizona, in California, in Nevada, in those dry open storage areas. We have hundreds of Abrams tanks. We have hundreds of howitzers. We have tens of thousands old M60A tanks, which we don't need to produce. All we have to do is to basically repair them. Some of them are in perfect condition. All we have to do is just to put a diesel fuel in there and ready to ship. And for Ukrainian army, it's not very difficult to train to operate those equipment. We see that Ukrainian army is capable. They mastered the HIMARS precision rocket systems. They mastered M777 howitzers and all other type of high-tech equipment. I don't think it will be a problem for Ukrainian army to master those American weapons, but they're still sitting in the desert. And I believe this is a political decision to keep them there.
If I may add a little bit, Andrew,
Yes.
In addition to all stuff we left in Afghanistan, which was actually a disaster, I think it's a national tragedy. But for 20 years of our presence in Afghanistan, we were sending them 300 millions every day. It's very easy to imagine because not everyone can have a vision of billions and trillions, but 300 millions every day for 20 years. And what? Fiasco, nothing accomplished. So when all world is screaming right now, maybe not, but half, oh my God, all that Ukrainian stuff has to stop. We're losing so much money. Why do we send? Even we criticize Biden for not enough help. Other part criticizing Biden for helping Ukraine because they blame Ukraine for something which doesn't belong to this problem at all. And my question to you, what do you think? Why Putin is so strong in this war, and why Biden administration does nothing really to end this war? Because if they want to do that, they would do it yesterday. It's very easy. It could be much cheaper to end this war in one moment. I mean, 1 week, 1 month, if we have that idea, if we have that plan. Because to deliver portion of very heavy equipment and end this war immediately, for example, instead of 18 HIMARS, if we got 50, it could be probably big difference. I'm not even talking about Lend-Lease. It's a different problem. But they don't want to do it. And this is why Putin is so strong and he has green lights to target, to eat body of Ukraine day by day. Why Biden's administration don't want to do that? Do you have any idea?
Yes, I do. And only one word, corruption. You see, Putin is a KGB officer. And they clearly understand the perfect way to get things done is to bribe. Okay, his life is a special operation. He's been a KGB officer for what, like 40 years of his life. He knows how to deal and how to do these type of operations. We know that Russia has been pouring billions of dollars into Europe, into the United States. And I am pretty confident that some money that we know the Communist Party of the United States exists, right? We need to know who finances them. And I'm pretty sure we'll find some ties with FSB or some other Russian intelligence services. So the level of penetration of Russian money, corrupt money, dirty money into Western politics is immense. We know that former Chancellor of Germany, right, has been working for Rosneft, that's a Russian oil company, is one of the chairmen over there. And obviously what he's doing, he's been lobbying Western politics to make the decisions that are favorable to Kremlin. Okay, former Chancellor Angela Merkel. You know, the question is how her father moved from Western Germany to Eastern Germany in the middle of Cold War. Okay, and her biography tells you a lot about her beliefs. Okay, we know about Mr. Berlusconi, a biggest friend of Putin, which is a member of European Parliament. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, I am confident that many years ago, Putin started this operation to corrupt Western countries and Western governments and Western elites. Okay, and when he felt safe, when Biden won, quote unquote, the election, he felt safe. Now it's time to do what he wanted to do for all his life. He wanted to occupy and annex Ukraine.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank
Biden
you.
opened door for Putin.
Pani Oksana, Andrew, we came from the same country, to the United States, and we were escaping basically USSR, socialist regime. And we know the socialists converting it to communist regime, but we all know the things turn out with dictatorship and death of millions. And we see, in my opinion, very similar situation. We know that, for example, Putin called Ukrainian people fascist and Nazi in his propaganda on Russian TV. It was 24/7 for a while, and we know he started dehumanizing Ukrainian and alienated them to Russian, and to make it easy for Russian to invade and be motivated to destroy Ukraine. They think they are fighting fascists in Ukraine. This is how he is justifying his invasion. Don't you see a similarity of events in the war in Ukraine and the United States? We saw President Biden, his speech, and other people who called American semi-fascists, and even CIA, ex-CIA director called Republicans the greatest threat he ever seen. Don't you see the similarity, and how we can resist this? Because it's obviously they are preparing us to civil war or something like Putin did to justify their aggression, maybe use power and suppress political opposition in other half of the country. What do you think? How you can comment on that? Pani Oksana.
Andrew, you first.
Andrew, okay.
Okay, well, like I already said, the similarities are striking. Okay, very clear similarities in the behavior of Putin for justification of his aggression. Obviously, he has to vilify and basically call the other side fascist, because and Russian propaganda works amazingly well. We know that they poured a lot of money into creating that image of the enemy. We know prior to Ukraine there was Georgia. Okay, now it's Ukraine. Next will be the Baltic countries, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the best way for you to, I mean, it's an old mythology. Okay, methodology to create an enemy, give a justification why you're right and he's wrong, and then you strike. And like I said, Biden, he said the most important words. He called the half of the Americans fascists. Now he can justify, obviously, and the left-wing media will definitely assist him on that, in creating that narrative. They've been already successful. You know, CNN and MSNBC, they've been actually saying that before Biden. They've been calling Republicans Nazis. They've been calling white supremacists. They've been calling fascists. You name it, right? Basically, they branded us as a threat to the democracy. That's what they call us, threat to the democracy. Okay, and apparently this is the tactic they use to get rid of us, because there will be one party system, there will be one party rule, there will be one doctrine, and everybody will be marching to the bright future, just like in communist China or whatnot. So this is the plan. Before moving on, and obviously to clear the political opposition, especially after coup d'etat, we need to actually do some justification why we do that. And so they started the process. And apparently, when somebody says that American media says, we have Russia Today, it's called CNN, okay? And it's working for one party. It's working for one political elite. And unfortunately, they're too powerful, and the voices of opposition are not as strong as I wish it to be. And obviously, we have to fight back. We need to stand our ground. We have to go out there and vote. We need not to be silent anymore, because it's our own countries at stake. It's our own existence is at stake. We don't want, like, we're all immigrants. We don't want to run away from this country. We came to America because it was America. If we wanted to move to Vietnam or Cuba, we would move to Vietnam or Cuba. We came to America because it was America. Now it's turning into something unrecognizable, unfortunately, and we have to revert that process.
Yes, what I want to add, I have special sentiments to KGB system because they opened file case on me when I was 11 years old. So knowing who is Putin, knowing his tactic, now I am amazed about our Biden, because instead to become an apprentice for his predecessor to learn how to make America at least good again, not great again, how to make us happy, how to take care of economy, because previous president was really good in that. So Biden chose wrong tactic. He became apprentice for Putin because he used his tactic, he used his lesson of a history, which is fake, and works only for him because it's not a real history. He called us fascists because the same as Putin called fascist Ukraine, because Putin still thinks Ukraine, this is his territory. So Biden knows this is his territory, but on his territory of United States, he has allegorically saying it might be like he has his own Ukraine with us, people who we don't belong to his system, because he wants to implement absolutely fascist system to us. And the same time, he calls us fascist. This is an absolutely tactic of Putin. He's gonna blame you, like every gangster. He's gonna blame you on sin you did, but he's gonna say, "Oh, it's totally opposite." So he's taking his own crime and he's putting it on us, because Putin is a typical fascist communist dictator leader. And unfortunately, sorry to say, but this is truth, we just experiencing very historical moment of a president of United States becoming not identical, but twin of Putin, with his strategy, with his hate, with his even manner of speech. I think he was watching Putin's speech, which happened before war started, to learn how to behave, how to take a pose, how to roll his eyes, and how to use his fist to talk to us Americans. This is very disturbing, this is scary, and I don't think we're supposed to just swallow that. We're supposed to do smart, do something very intelligent, but very loud, and explain to each American who still doesn't understand what's going on, and to whole world really what's going on in our country. If we're not going to do it now, we're going to lose our country, period.
I agree, and we have to understand that we don't have any that kind of difference that we have to fight with each other. We can always peacefully talk to each other and resolve all issues. If we don't agree, we go and vote. We can't put more gasoline in the fire of this. We don't have to be fighting. It's
well, I want to say something. In my own opinion, Biden just crossed the Rubicon. He crossed the red line. Because when you call somebody a fascist, it's like they call us the internal terrorists, right? And there is no negotiation with terrorists.
Yeah.
There's a very good saying: if somebody says he wants to kill you, you better believe it. Okay? If Biden says that he wants to get rid of Republicans, he calls us fascists, we better believe it. Okay? More than anything, I want a dialogue. I never heard anybody, Biden himself, his wife, or his press secretary, I never heard anyone apologize for that.
Yeah.
They didn't. More, they actually continue the same tactic and same rhetoric. They continue saying what they were saying and making it even worse. Remember when Biden was running for the office? He said that I will heal the nation. He said, I will heal the nation. Now we see that he's not healing the nation. He's dividing nation even more and more. That's what he's doing. And that's very unfortunate. And we need to take a stand because they really want to get rid of us.
I think we have perfect weapon to deal with because they using real weapon. They hire 80,000+ kind of IRS to fight us, just a cover up. But we do have weapon. We have our voting ballots, and we can put right mark in front of a right name. And I think this is going to be the biggest attack we can do, and the biggest way we can protect ourselves, we can protect our enemy, our country from our enemies, and we can show them how strong we are. And again, we can do it peacefully, but our weapon is very, very strong. It's just a piece of paper, but it has to be done right. We have last chance right now, like you said, Andrew. I would call it no return point. I think in military terminology, you know what it means. Biden crossed that no return point. And even if he apologized, I will not accept it because it's not honest. And even more, I even make a post on the Facebook. It was kind of sarcastic, but actually I think it's possible. I said, hey, young, prominent lawyers, we need to do something about that. I want to protect myself. He called me a fascist. I need a lawyer. I think if 1 million people do that, it could change all the witnessing right now because it's impossible. It has to be changed, and we have power to do that because we are the people.
Yes, and we have to be unified. When we have election, we have to vote these people out of the Congress, Senate. That's the only constitutional and right way to do this. We have to unify and make sure this election will be crystal clear. We have to come to the election points and make sure everything according to the law. Of course, they want to stay in power and they're trying to hate us, each other. But we are not enemies, and we have to make sure there will be no aggression and no any provocation. Hopefully. Is there is there anything else you can add to this?
All I can say is that we hope for the best. Obviously, we're not the ones who started this conflict, started the at least cold civil war. And obviously, we are ready for dialogue as long as they're ready for dialogue. But we didn't call them fascists. We didn't call them internal terrorists. We didn't call them the biggest threat to the state. Okay? Well, you see, when we live in the same building, we can discuss the color of our roof. We can discuss what kind of interior or what kind of furniture we have and everything. It's all discussable. However, when one side says, well, let's demolish, let's destroy the building, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. And for us to stop them from destroying our building, they have to be voted out and being investigated for their actions.
I agree.
Yes, we want our country back, and we have to do it as soon as possible because clock is ticking.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. To remind you, subscribe to our channel and channel Andrew Azarkin. Only with us you can find news from people who live in social state and news from directly from Ukraine. Thank you so much again for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glory to Ukraine and glory to America.
God bless America.
God bless America.